Hi, welcome to another episode of Foxy Little Nuggets, where the warm latte of news meets the cold milk of reality and somebody forgets to tip the barista. First tonight, Andy Burnham has not even crossed the threshold of number 10 yet, but he's already considering asking taxpayers for a little more, a pay rise, more tax. Oh yes, sirree Bob, because he hasn't got enough money. New figures show the economy grew by just 0.1% in May, and he wants more. The British taxpayer is now like the last tube of toothpaste in the house. It's crushed, it's folded, it's empty, it's rolled around the edge of the sink, and yet he thinks he can just squeeze out enough for one more brush of that cheeky scouse smile. Services managed a very slight increase in the economy, tiny, but production and construction both fell. So not looking good. In other words, Britain's economy is technically moving, just in the wrong direction. And in the sense that a glacier moves, it's imperceivable, but it's unstoppable. Ed Miliband may be approaching a decision with regards to his future. Either demand the chancellorship or demand that he's fired. Just to show that, really, that Burnham hasn't got any balls. Burnham, of course, has expensive ideas. All his ideas are expensive because he doesn't understand how to cost them. But there's things like council houses, benefits, nationalised utilities, and increased defence spending. Unfortunately, the magic money tree has died and withered, and so he's going to have to be reliant on taxpayers, many of whom are fleeing and taking their money with them. And as cutting spending appears to be considered an obscure far-right obsession, you may wish to begin hiding your wallet now. Burnham is also struggling to decide who should even become Chancellor. Shabana Mahmood is reportedly the favourite, while Miliband supporters are urging Burnham to put him there in order to maintain party unity. Well, party unity on the left at the very least. Party unity on the right would be lost immediately. And not just there. The markets, businesses, banks, the people, anyone with half a brain, they're all going to be pushing him out there awkwardly. A bit like your elderly uncle at a dance floor or a wedding. Markets prefer Mahmood. The pound reached a 1-year high just by the warm glow, the fuzzy glow, knowing that Miliband wouldn't be Chancellor. Although that's only hope. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But it may be the first recorded occasion ever where a currency has rallied on the basis of sheer relief. The second little nugget comes from MI5, where senior officers have been found to have misled investigators on three separate courts, should I say, over the handling of a violent informant. The man, known only as Agent X, allegedly attacked his former partner and used his connection to the security service to control and intimidate her. MI5 used its traditional defence of we can neither confirm nor deny, but then they were forced to confirm. So think less Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, more panic, bluster, shred and deny. It's not looking good for the security services, is it? But MI5 says it's now improved its record keeping. One would hope so. Spies have discovered that the revolutionary intelligence technique known as writing things down and remembering them has proved to be important. Who knows? Thirdly, there's another scandal at Scotland's £1 billion Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. This was after it was revealed that the cleaners had been using entirely the wrong product to clean the floors. They were using this thing called Sumalinos. It's a powerful detergent, normally used in commercial dishwashing environments. However, it also gives off some very nasty fumes. And the containers warn that protective gloves and eye protection should be worn. According to whistleblower, staff were instead told to throw it around the floors without masks, gloves, training or supervision, And never mind the damage it will do the vulnerable, ill people in the heart ward, in the high intensity care wards, in the lung wards, etc. The very wards where this kind of thing would do the most amount of damage. There is apparently a series of court cases about to go through. The QE does not know how to deal with this. They know that they're liable. They've admitted they've done it. They've apologised for doing it, which kind of means that any court case now, it's an automatic victory for the plaintiff. It's a bugger, isn't it? Could cost billions. Maybe. It's that serious, yeah. The distinction between a hospital ward and the inside of an industrial dishwasher has somewhere been lost in a memo. But I'm sure they'll be reminded of it when the bill comes due. You know, it's not good. Who signed off on this? Are they still there? Have they lost their job? If not, why not? This is the thing. They'll talk about lessons being learned, but lessons aren't learned unless people lose jobs. Final nugget before we get on to the and finally is from the Home Office. It's revealed that immigrants were incorrectly given £20 million through Immigration Health Surcharge Scheme. But this is a drop in the ocean. In fact, the full incompetency is over £100 million has been spent incorrectly, and nobody knows where it's gone or how we're going to get it back. It seems to me that 100 million here and 100 million there, and very soon you're talking serious money. Again, has anyone lost their job? Answer, no. But officials say that enhanced checks will stop it happening in future. I would suggest seeing people packing up the stuff on their desk, putting it in a small cardboard box, and being escorted out the door by very large security men will also ensure that it doesn't happen again. Being fired and watching other people get fired, at least, certainly concentrates the mind wonderfully, don't you think? You know, it's just absolute rubbish, isn't it? Finally, one could say, is the great news that children are now going to be saved by the government forcing more injections into them. Yippee! Of course, this is not a good and finally, but it is an and finally, because already there are calls to actually postpone this. That's the and finally. It's not the doing, it's the postponing, because they're saying that the uptake is going to be so low as to be problematic, and they want a 2-year moratorium on this while they try to convince people that this is a genuine injection, not some experimental stuff that they've just whipped up in a lab. You see what happens when you just whip stuff up in a lab and inject it willy-nilly, as it were. People lose trust. Now, apparently there is absolutely nothing wrong with this injection. I'll take them at their word. But given what's happened, you can see why people are cautious. And so the calls are out. And that is the and finally. Nobody wants to just simply hand over their children for medical procedures with untested drugs. They want to make sure these drugs have been tested. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Good night. Bye.